she shared with everyone, that it was her property, and they had like 1,000 acres. He had a job that made, that supplied him with a $100,000 per year plus paycheck. But in all actuality, they were shacked up on the boyfriend's daughter's property. So once she was incarcerated on that warrant that she blamed me for, which I didn't do the crime, but she did the time because it was her crime. It wasn't mine. But people like that like to always blame someone else because they will not take accountability for their own actions, which is why they typically are repeat offenders. They don't learn their lesson because they never take accountability. So what I'm going to do now is I'm not going to read the chat. I'm just kind of going to read over my notes. And then after I'm done reading over the notes, I can take questions and discuss a few more things. I know in KK's live that she had a couple of nights ago, some people had some questions regarding the boyfriend, the property, why she left, are they still together, things like that. And those are questions that I think that I can answer for you guys. Okay, so I wanted to start with the community needs to come together. Truce has been made so that we can get maximum cooperation from the victims. While her days of scamming and awareness are likely over, work is not done. We need the help of the victims and the community to come forward. No amount, be it $5 or $500, is too big or too small. But it is significant because when we tally them all together, that sum can be astronomical, as we have recently seen with slots. No one would have believed that slots had embezzled $1 million until the numbers began coming in. I would like to reiterate that if you donated, please do not have fear of repercussions. You had no idea that you were being scammed. You are a victim. You are a victim. The people who are the victims that come forward, you will be praised. You will not be scrutinized. There are many people who care about this community, and this should be a moral obligation to step forward. Identities have and will be protected. They will not be shared publicly. It is everyone's obligation to keep our community safe. As a victim, if you feel more comfortable reaching out to another victim, let's use Mackenzie for example. An example, Mackenzie is also a victim of SPs. If as a victim you feel more comfortable reaching out to another victim, then please reach out to Mackenzie. We want you to feel comfortable with the person that you choose to reach out to, because ultimately those numbers are very, very important. We know that she was doing illicit things with the money. She would have people who sent money state, let's say, for example, if they sent $50 and the notes, it would say for the Dollar Tree or something like that. That was her way of covering her ass, really. We know that she would take money and that she would send it to someone else and ask them to send it right back to her from a different app. That's called money muling. And what that is it's sending someone money to make it appear as though the money is going out. But in all actuality, the money comes right back to her. So she could show her donor, look, I sent the money out, see? I can prove it. The money went to the cause that I told you it would be going to. But in all actuality, it just loops right back to her. Slots stated that in a video, and that video is on my page. A couple of years ago, Slots went live with G Unit, Scammy Awards, and she shared with everyone on live that SP had asked her multiple times to accept money from Zelle, and she would send it back on Cash App, right back to her. Whether or not they had something going on is to be determined. I will say that I have personally spoken to the investigator who was handling Amy Downs' case, and he has helped to advise me with some information that has been very helpful. So, but at some point, we'll discuss that. But for now, what is most important is that the victims feel comfortable coming forward with whomever they choose to share their information with. And that could be myself, that could be KK. Mackenzie is a victim herself, that could be Mackenzie. You may be able to relate to one person better than the other person, so please go to whomever you feel most comfortable because you're a victim. Debbie, that will be determined. We need these numbers. Those numbers are going to be imperative to determine what happens from here. Those numbers are going to be very, very important. Mercy May just stated if anyone is that she is available, if anyone would like to talk with her. Her and Amy used to be friends. Yeah, and this is just my opinion. I don't know if this truly happened or not, but I think that SP and Slots worked together at one point. And when Slots came forward with that information during that live, I think that was Slots' way of saying to SP, back off, don't start no shit, there won't be no shit. I think that's what Slots' message was to SP. Because at one point, they were buddies. Can someone ask KK to unblock me? I would like to talk to her. KK, Karma's bestie. If KK is in here, or if someone's in here who chats with KK, Karma's bestie is asking if she could be unblocked. That would all be determined, Nosh, once the numbers come in. I can tell you that anything above $2,500 is considered a felony for an internet crime. And this would be considered an internet crime because it was done over the internet. Okay, I'm checking through the messages. Yeah, I think a lot of people were shocked to learn, a lot of these creators, people truly believed in them. Slots had even received awards for her good deeds on TikTok. And the whole time, over $1 million went into her pocket. Okay, Tim, thank you. Courtney and Kevin, G, thank you for letting us know. We know that. A lot of people were deceived. A lot of people believed in her. And when you believe in someone, you see the good in them. And, SP is very good at what she does. She's a natural born with this. She's been doing manipulating for basically pretty much her entire life, since her adolescent years. She had, like Bright, she hasn't been arrested for this. She was arrested in October and spent 4 days in jail due to a warrant. An old warrant. It was 21 years old. J1RN, we do have a truce. I think we both have done things, and at this point, we're moving forward to work on what's most important, and what's most important is that SP no longer be able to scam and take advantage of people, and there be no more victims. Yeah, she hurt a lot of people. a lot of people truly loved her and felt that, she was their friend. What happened with Mackenzie and SP? Last time I saw, they were good friends. Mama Tina, you must have missed out on a lot. When Nikki left Chris, Nikki wrote a letter. SP continued to talk about the children, and Nikki wanted it to stop. Nikki was taking control over her life and her children, something that she was finally able to do. And one of those first steps was to ask SP to stop talking about her children and stating that things were being done to them because nothing was happening. And Nikki wrote a letter. She asked me to read it during a live. I did. And then from the very next day, SP for months began accusing myself, the mole, Mackenzie, and other good people of covering up trafficking of that child, including Chris and Nikki. She told everybody we were working together to funnel money through Discord, that thousands of dollars had been funneled through Discord, and it was all a lie. I think at that point, SP knew that her platform was at high risk, and that she was at high risk for being exposed. And, extreme times are calls for extreme measures. And I think that she did this as an act to try and save her platform and save her followers. And this was all about money for SP. This was all about money. It's how she made her living. I don't know if she is actively in addiction and has continued to use, but I think that there are many people within our community that is familiar with the signs of that. And I think we've all seen things on live as far as her behaviors and how they would change from one day to the next. She would go through phases of being highly elevated, talking fast, appearing as though she thought she could conquer the world, becoming very vulgar during lives. And we would see changes in her, that's for sure. And just some of the things that she would say, were way out there, talking about, the neighbor's roaches. The neighbor's house was so infested with roaches that there were so many roaches on the outside of the home that it looked like the house was waving back and forth, like moving. That's not something that the average person is. There's not going to be a roach infestation of that at an apartment complex, first of all. That's something from a Stephen King movie. So, but even if there was a roach infestation, roaches typically hide during the daytime. They're not going to swarm around the entire perimeter and the siding of a residence. It's just not going to happen. So maybe, I don't know, maybe she was elevated on some type of chemical and that was a hallucination. I don't know. I can only speculate. But it makes sense to me that that could have been happening. But I do know that, to be an active addict is a very expensive habit. One addict told me that for his addiction, it cost him $9,000 per month. That's a lot of money. So when you look at the money that a lot of these beggars and scammers are receiving and they have nothing to show for it, it makes you think, where is the money going? Yes, she had you're right, Johnny Boy. SP told the platform about failing her rug test, and she even held the test up on live in her private live and shared it. Yeah, all those roaches. And she claimed that was during YouTube days when she took the money from Miss Diaz. I'm starting to lose my voice just a little bit. But I've also been in contact with that YouTube community because we need all of the totals across both platforms. on how bad your habit is. $300. So Sunshine said that, it depends on how bad your habit is. Sunshine said that they could easily spend $300 a day and more if they had it. She lived in that camper. She didn't have a car payment. She didn't drive. One reason why she didn't drive is because she had an active warrant. If she got pulled over, she could have gotten arrested. She had 7 aliases, 7 different names, different combinations of spellings on her warrant. She had 2 different dates of birth. She didn't make it easy for them to find her, and that's what criminals do. They know what they're doing. Many people, not just our community, but a community outside of ours, and that was on YouTube. And the money did not go to where she said the money was going. Jairus, I can tell you, I 100% do not believe there was no Etsy shop. I have looked, I have done the research, I have looked in certain places that not everyone has the ability to search through, and there is absolutely nothing. There is history whatsoever, nothing. I do not believe that she had an Etsy shop. You'll see, this is something that these beggars will do. They will Etsy shop. You'll see, this is to help someone who is helping themselves. So SP made everyone believe that she had an Etsy shop, which was a source of income for her. So people didn't have a problem, donating to her. They would just assume, well, she has a job. She doesn't need our money. So we'll just donate the money to help the cause. Yes, over 60 hits on her record. And as I'd mentioned when I first started bringing awareness to her 11 months ago, she absolutely did have child neglect charges as well. And I have spoken to 3 of her daughters, and they have shared their experiences that they have had with their mother. And she has 2 kids, her oldest son and another one of her children who loves her unconditionally. They love their mother. They cannot, for the life of them, understand why she does not love them back. And it has affected them, emotionally affected them tremendously. Yes, you would think, Marty, that if someone did have a business like Etsy, they would share that information with the community, and it would help them. It would only be beneficial to them, for them to share. More like a Sketsy shop. Yep. Master manipulator. Yeah, there's no Etsy shop. It would be a miracle if there actually was. And, she accused me of writing a complaint to Etsy, which had her PayPal frozen, and she couldn't get any money from her PayPal. That's when she was asking for money to see a doctor. She asked for donations for doctors to see a doctor. She asked for a doctor's appointment with her mat doctor and also an oncologist. She said oncologist. That's someone who would treat you for a blood disorder or for cancer. And then she corrected herself later on and said, no, it's my cardiologist. But that day that SP collected over $350 that we are aware of on her live, and she created a sense of urgency, which is what beggars do to get money very quickly. She said she needed to go to her appointment. Everyone started donating to her. She acted as though she were getting her clothes on while on live. I'm getting my britches on. I'm getting ready to go. Well, do you know she never left her camper. That day, I did communicate with her. She called her daughter-in-law, that it was the owner of that property, her boyfriend's daughter. And that's kind of when it all went down. They knew what SP was doing on live. They asked her to get off of the internet or move off the property. And they just assumed that she had gotten off of the internet. But then once the warrant became about and law enforcement started going over to the property, she must be back on the internet again. And once she was arrested, that's when Robert was the boyfriend. That's when Robert's daughter said, "No more. We told you, either get off of the internet or you have to get off the property." So no, you have to get off the property. So it had nothing to do with what anyone done other than her choices. She chose that. Was that supposed wreck that her daughter got into? Her daughter did get into a wreck. That was confirmed. But whether or not she actually visited her daughter in the hospital is a different story. If I had to guess, I would say that SP collected all that money for her own pocket and did not see her daughter. She doesn't have a relationship with her children. What's your question, Kat? I'm sorry I missed it. I'm like 30 messages behind, so if you have a question and I miss it, please re-ask it. So hold on a second. McDonald said, she did no more than you all done. Make that money. McDonald, what money? What money have I made on here? I can tell you that I'm in the hole by doing what I do on here. I'm not complaining about it at all. But I don't do this to make money, so you can take that somewhere else. Positive, this is Southern Pride, SP, Cherry Blossom, 007, Southern Pride 007, Beautiful Broken Warrior, Phoenix Rising 007, Tomorri Conard, Crafting Through the Lies. She has multiple different names and aliases. Hi, son. Welcome in. Yeah, we're trying to help being scammed from people like SP. I'm not over here to make money at all. I have a small business. I'm good. I'm very content. You know, I've been focused on SP, and it's taken a long time to get to where we're at now. But yes, I am definitely keeping an eye on him as well. Thank you, kindness, and you're very welcome. Chris is on favorite. I didn't see that, Big Jim. I did not see that. I honestly don't see a lot of lives other than, I focus on a couple of things. As far as TikTok goes, I browse some, but rarely do I even go to the FYP. Usually means kisses. Kat, I'm looking for your message or your comment. I'm very worried. Yes, we've addressed that, Darlene. Animal control was contacted. I have a video on my page. I posted the video shortly before TikTok went down the other day. So unfortunately, my video went black. You can't see anything, but you can at least hear the message. it starts with Chris complaining about animal control going out, and it's followed by my voiceover of what the findings were by animal control. It will, Marty, eventually. Tax payments. Are you referring to SP's tax payments? Whether or not no, I'm just assuming that woman has not paid taxes. Most of these beggars and scammers do not. But I think it would be, one step at a time, coming up with what's most important over everything right now is getting that number. And that number is going to help us to determine what the next step will be, because there's a couple of different directions that we could go with this. So we need that number first and foremost. Thank you, Eloson. That's really nice of you. I appreciate that. That's fun reading. Okay, Kat says, no, I was talking about the boyfriend. Okay, I've caught up. I'm down here at the bottom of messages now. So what was your question, Kat, regarding the boyfriend? Scamming. Who farted? Asked, what is she guilty of? It would be scamming, taking advantage of all these good people in this community. Making people believe that the donations were for a specific cause, but in all actuality, it was going right into her pocket, and what she was actually using the funds for, we can only speculate, but I think most of us have a pretty good idea. I'm waiting on your comment, Kat. Yes, keep God first. I certainly suggest to never send anyone money on this app. Just don't do it. We never really know. And this is the perfect example. So many people for so long truly believed it. Like she would have. Well, that's what I certainly hope. Stay awake. She still has the protective order violations pending because she's violated the protective order multiple times. Thank you, Oni. What has an SP done? False accusations, lying, begging, scamming, to be scams. Yep. Okay, Mercy May said that we are now up to $15,000. Mercy May, is that including Nancy's money? And this is just in 3 days, y'all. In 3 days, we're up to $15,000. I know Sal Leib says everyone that they've helped has turned out to be a scammer. My suggestion is just keep your money. Don't give your money to anyone on this app. You might as well just take a pair of scissors to your money if you're going to give money to anyone on this app. And a lot of these people who are on here day in and day out, they're in active addiction. And, every dollar is one more dollar that they can use for their habit. And to have a habit is very dangerous these days, especially these days. And I'm still looking for your comment, your question, Kat. I'm not seeing it. Yeah, I think that more people will continue to come forward. I know that I'm sure the victims, I can only imagine how they feel, having really cared about SP and thinking that, they were helping a good cause or helping a good friend and being a good friend, only to find out that they were just being taken advantage of. And, you know, the victims can help prevent other people from feeling the same pain that they may be feeling from being hurt by her. Right, like Chris says he can't afford firewood, but will grill steaks for himself, or he doesn't send the Christmas presents to his children that he promised them that he would send, but he'll have a steak. Specifically asking, you know, she claimed to help DV victims. I have messages from her that were sent to someone else on this app who also believed in her. And one of the messages, for example, she was pretending as though she was helping a DV victim and her children get away from their abuser, and that the abuser was getting out of jail the following day. She was trying to gather enough donations to get this mother and her children on an airplane and out of the state before he was released from jail. There was no victim. And it was well over $1,000 that she was asking for that. Out of the no victim. Hold on just a second, I'll get back to that. Kat said, I think I'm being censored. I was asking about the boyfriend's tax money. Oh, okay, I know what you're referring to, Kat. So at one point, SP came on and told everyone that the IRS had come back on her boyfriend and he was going to have to pay a monthly, I believe it was over $1,000 a month or something back to the IRS. I don't believe that either. I don't believe anything. When I spoke to Robert's son-in-law, he told me that Robert worked for him. At one point, Robert was a truck driver, and that was shared with me by one of SP's children. I don't believe a word that comes out of SP's mouth no more than I believe anything that comes out of any other beggar, scammer's mouth. And I think that's how we have to kind of start looking at it now. Instead of looking at it as we were getting information from a friend, we were getting information from a person that was deceiving us and that was looking out for their best interest, not for yours. She wanted your money. I can't say that she was. We do know that we've all seen her get quote unquote elevated during live. What else she did, I don't know. But y'all, I do have a video recording from when she was living in West Virginia. She stated that, actually no, she was already back in South Carolina. And she was stating that when she lived in West Virginia, she was purchasing them off of the street, and they would run for $30 to $40 each. And that she had never had a doctor. She just bought them off of the street. So she had shared with all of us here in this community that she went to her doctor and even would go on live and ask people for money to pay for her doctor's visit because she didn't have the money to pay for the visit. But in the video that I have, and I will find it and I will post it, it's hard to post some of these videos because TikTok might take it down just because of what's in there, the information that's in there. But she was basically stating that she has never seen a doctor and she's always paid for it. And when she left West Virginia, which was during the time that she took all of the money that was meant for Miss Diaz, there's another video of SP stating that when she left West Virginia, she had to purchase as many of those as she could because she knew that when she got to where she was going, it was going to take her a while before she found new connections. So she was getting them off the street the whole time. So when she took Diaz's money, we can certainly speculate, because it makes sense, that she was buying up as much as she possibly could, because like she said in her own words, it was going to take her time to find new connections in the new state that she was going to. And so, let's see, back to Kat. She was giving money. She was giving money to the boyfriend. Yeah, I totally do not believe that she was giving him any money. Um, I don't know, people have asked if he were involved. I don't know. I don't know. I know that they lived in a very tiny camper. It was smaller than Nikki and Chris's camper. It didn't even have a door to the bedroom. It just had like a cloth that you pull, like a little curtain that you pull shut. So certainly, I mean, she was on live. She didn't whisper. She was loud a lot of times when she was on live. So surely, he heard what she was saying and what she was doing. Now, one thing that the daughter meaning Robert's daughter said to me that they wondered how she always had money in her pocket. That also leads me to believe that she did not have an Etsy shop. Thank you, Karma. Thank you for coming in. Yeah, because if she had an Etsy shop, Robert's daughter wouldn't have been wondering where the money came from. But she always had money in her pocket. I mean, we've seen her on live nodding out. She's not married. Now, initially when she came, well, let me start with YouTube because there's two different platforms and two totally different stories. So when she joined the YouTube community, she was also calling out Ernie Shell, which is a scammer on YouTube. The YouTube community is after him. They have been for years. So that was her scammer of choice to call out. She told that community over there that she was a corporate attorney and that her husband, Robert, was a nuclear engineer for the Department of Homeland Security. They didn't know any different. They just assumed that what she was telling them was true. They found her to be very good at what she did, calling out the beggars and the scammers. And she was always able to call their next step. Like she knew what they were going to do next. Okay, Karma, absolutely. As soon as I finish this, I'll bring you up. Be happy to bring you up. So she was able to call their next step. Well, one of the members of their community needed some help. She had a special needs daughter who had autism. She needed to move closer to her family. The community came together. They all donated. Tomorri SP was the holder of the money and agreed to match whatever the total was that was collected. She was also going to purchase billboards and some other things to help with this cause. Well, altogether, the community donated just around $5,000. So what Diaz was supposed to have gotten was around $10,000 because Tomorri was supposed to match the donations. But Tomorri never gave any of the money at all to Miss Diaz. She pocketed it. Miss Diaz would reach out to Tomorri. She would make excuses as to why she couldn't talk, or she just wouldn't answer the phone at all. And at one point, she even told the entire community that she was being stalked, and her stalker had busted out the windshields in her truck, her husband's truck, and they needed the money to replace the windshields, and it was just a big old fiasco. So none of that was true. She never showed pictures of the truck with windows busted out. And then she came to TikTok. So on T, there was one main house on the property and a camper, because people would question SP, why is your husband never in the camper? So what she told everyone is that he sleeps in the house, she sleeps in the camper, but sometimes he sleeps in the camper with her. She didn't want to sleep in the house because there was memorabilia that left over from his ex-wife, and it made her feel uncomfortable. Well, come to find out, when I spoke with the daughter, is when the daughter of Robert's daughter, is when I found out that that property didn't belong to Robert or Tomorri. And I bounced back between Tomorri and SP. Her name is Tomorri. Her username here, her nickname is SP for Southern Pride. But it wasn't their property at all. They were basically shacked up in the camper. Robert slept in the camper full time. He didn't sleep in the house at all. The house belonged to Robert's daughter, and Robert's daughter and her husband lived in that house full time. So, no, she's not with Robert any longer. When she got out of jail in October, Robert's daughter told her that she had to go, because they had given her an ultimatum a couple of months prior to that. It was around the time she was served with the protective order to protect Nikki and her kids from SP. She was to either get off of the internet or move off of the property, and they had assumed that she had gotten off. Let's see, Karma's bestie, would you like to request a box, or did you just have a question in the comments for me? Now, there is a double-wide Care Bear that was moved to the property. The son-in-law did tell me that Robert purchased that trailer. She was very believable, Green Eyes. She was very believable. A lot of people believed her. You know, hi, Jeanette. Thank you for coming in. I'm glad you made it. You know, she... what I remember, okay, thank you. I'm glad that you guys are hearing me. I was concerned about that. You know what? I've been in the community for a long time. And what I remember from way back when, you know, SP was covering Mufasa, and then she did Brady, and then she did Jess and Trey, and then Jess and Trey to Jen, and then from Jen to Mr. Money Stealer. And basically, you know, what I feel that happened to Karma Bestie's family, they went through a lot, and they've come up and they have voiced what they experienced. So I do definitely empathize with her. But for the purposes of this live, we're just going to stay focused on SP and the donations that have been given to SP.
Hey.
Hey, Otto, welcome in.
Hey, welcome. Hey, yeah, I just wanted to say, because earlier there was a few people asking, if people want to know, you know, about like KK's situation, posted about her. I think her live is posted on there. That's what I wanted to let, because there was earlier there was some people asking like what, you know, what happened with them two.
Yes, if you go to on YouTube, KK's YouTube page is KKRissa21. She posted the live in its entirety that she had just a couple of nights ago that shares her story between her and SP, and also shares information for the donations, the begging, all of that.
Yeah, and that's crazy. I just heard, I seen Mercy May just
a little bit
ago post that they're up to 1,200 now, and that's just within 2 days. That is crazy, and that's just what that's just what they know of so far, you know.
Yeah, just a few days we've come up with, you know.
Yeah, that is a lot of money.
No.
Yeah, that is a lot of money.
Any new information, Khaki, as far as what I'm focusing on now with SP is the numbers. You know, how much has been donated to her, and the ones that donated to her, what did they believe they were donating to? That's what's most important right now. And the last thing we want is for her to be running across the country and having to get chased down, because it takes a lot of time and effort to locate someone. So that's the thing we want, because it takes a lot of time and effort as far as where I think she is or anything like that, because we don't want to be running across the country. That's a lot of work, and we don't want to get into it. Psychology, it's on Carissa21, or KK Rissa 21 on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she posted it
The
on
whole
there. I'm not. I know she said
all
she was
good.
going to.
Yeah,
But
now
that's all I wanted to
as
say is
she,
because. Oh, sorry.
no, go ahead, Otto.
That's all I wanted to say because people were asking earlier, and so I just wanted to,
Thank you.
yeah, right there it is. Voice of Reason just posted it. Um, that's where you can find it if you want, if you want to know what was said. So, and she showed, um, I don't know. There was a lot of proof, like so. But all right, Sorry, I'm really tired. It's got off work, but I'm gonna drop out. But I'll be listening.
Okay, great. Thank you, Otto. Appreciate it.
Yep,
And
thanks.
once
Close to
Otto drops out,
1,500 now. Wow, that's insane. It's gonna.
well, it's actually 15, over 15,000. I don't know if that's
And,
including Nancy's or not, but if it includes Nancy's, then we're over 17,000.
and see, I can just from me being I was an addict myself. I could tell by the way, like sometimes she'd be all calm and maybe singing a song or and then all of a sudden it would go from a whole different mood. I could tell that, in my opinion, that she was definitely on something. The
Yeah,
way
and
her,
I remember is actually right after she was served with the court papers, the protective order papers, she started doing lives and she was singing and dancing.
Mhm.
I think, and that's just my opinion, I'm speculating here, but I think she was just doing that because she felt at that point that she was being watched by Robert's family and she wanted them to believe that all she did on TikTok was just talk to people and sing and dance.
Mhm.
That would be like her mentality, to share that with them, to make them believe that she wasn't doing anything, nefarious on TikTok.
And from what we've learned over this past year or so is she's been doing this for a long time. So in my opinion, she is the definition of a professional scammer. Like so, and also like people that have sent her money and got scammed by her. I mean, I wouldn't feel real bad because she's a professional at it, and she feel real bad because she's a professional at it, and she knows what she's doing, and it sucks, especially to the people that thought that she really cared about them and was really good friends, because I know there's a lot of them. But you just she knew what she was doing this whole time. She's been doing it for so long. She's very, very good at it, and I 100% believe that she's on YouTube right now, starting up, building up another community to start taking advantage of people, and
Absolutely.
she will. That's all she knows. She's a
Absolutely.
professional scammer. Yep.
Absolutely. Also told her community and led them to believe was that she saw all of her 9 children every 2 weeks. They were all grown, and I see my kids every 2 weeks. That is exactly what she told her followers. When in all actuality, there is no relationship with any of her 9 children. She has 2 children who yearn for a relationship with her. They desperately want a relationship with their mother. And as I said earlier, they cannot understand why their mother doesn't love them. It's hard for them, and they have suffered.
Yeah. But all right, I'm gonna drop in the comments.
Okay, thanks,
Thanks.
Otto. Yeah, so currently she's on YouTube. And I can't tell y'all to do this, but I think you all know if there's anything that's reportable, you know what to do. Because, you know, we need to stop this. We have the ability to stop this as a community by all working together. We don't want others to be taken advantage of. And if we can do anything to stop it, then I'm all for that. A lot of people didn't know this. A lot of people didn't know this. And, when I first started bringing awareness about all of this and learning information, speaking with her family members, and getting the truth about who she really is and speaking with her children and learning about her history. And I began sharing it. She did not want her followers to hear this information. She told everyone that if she sees them in those lives, that she will block them. So I just feel that if you're ever on a creator's page and they're telling you, trying to dictate whose lives you can go into, then there's typically a reason why they don't want you there. She did not want any of her followers to know this information, obviously. She hoped that she could continue to do what she does and has been doing for a very long time. On YouTube is the ISYBW. Can someone pin her ISYBW for me? One of my moderators, please, if you're able to. You're right, lady. Becky, I'm so happy that you came across this today. We definitely want to get the word out. It's important that as many people on TikTok know this. We need to educate her new followers on YouTube. They have no idea what they're getting themselves into. They have no idea. KK mentioned the other night in her live that, someone that's following her now on YouTube asked SP, how can I support this page? Well, we know what that means, So did she get probation? Well, for this, she has not been held accountable yet. That's what we're working on. Having her held accountable for taking advantage of all of these people and getting donations that, didn't actually go to what she claimed that they were going to. Dell said she sent a ton of gifts. She's very good. During one of my lives, the way I articulated or gave examples of, I should say, in my live of how SP works is a couple of people took offense to it. I didn't mean for them to take offense to it. I was not belittling Tammy or Verena in any way. I was trying to explain the best way that I could how SP operates. And what she does is she will watch in these beggars' lives and she will find who their big gifters are. And she will bring those big gifters to her. So she will turn them against the beggars. But she'll bring them to her page. And then they become her big gifters. So she profits from these beggars. She's very calculating. She knows what she's doing. Oh, yeah, Oni. Now, that whole thing about her suing the sheriff's department and Horry County Sheriff's Department for violating her civil rights is all bullshit. Her warrant was 100% valid. No rights were violated. Now, what SP told everybody after she was released from jail, her story was that the U.S. Marshals came. She exaggerated the story. She said they blocked off all the entrances and exits to the property. They surrounded the camper. No. I spoke with one of the U.S. Marshals in the warrant department for her local sheriff's department. He told me that there were no U.S. Marshals on that property, and there may have been 2, possibly 3, at the most, police officers that went there. There were no U.S. Marshals. Yes, Chris did the same thing. When the police were called out to his house, he claimed that like 15 officers came out there. I also spoke with Chris's sheriff's department, and they told me no, there were 3 officers that went to Chris's camper that day. They exaggerate stuff. They try to make a mountain out of molehills. Yes, if you're saying that Chris was saying that she was a beggar and a scammer, absolutely. And, the U.S. Marshal told me, he said it's not uncommon for these criminals to say this. He said he hears that all the time. They start yelling and screaming that their rights were violated. Yeah, she was very, that was a nice officer to allow her to have her phone because he certainly didn't have to. Does anyone have any specific questions for me regarding anything that I might, if I can answer it, I'll certainly answer it for you. Right, Sugar Bear. You would think that she, would have a home, but she has nothing to show for it. She left with a couple of bags and a dog. That's it. That's it. Thousands of dollars later, her belongings consist of a couple of suitcases and Lulu. Yeah, she's learned this, Dale, from a very early age. And I understand she was young when she got married. She also exaggerated that situation. She was not forced to marry anyone. She did that because she wanted to. It was actually SP's mother who came home and caught Tomorri in the bed with the mother's boyfriend. And that's when the mother said, if this is going to happen, you're going to get married. So she went to the courthouse and she signed the papers for them to get married. And they got married. And SP's husband had brothers. She had relationships with all of his 4 brothers and actually has children by those brothers. So the husband, when he would leave to go to work, and this was all shared with me by one of the children, her adult children. When he would leave to go to work, there were times he would sprinkle flour on the front porch so that when he came home, he could see if there was any footprints, to see if his brothers had been there to visit his wife that day. So not only does Tomorri have children by work, does he have children by her husband and some of his brothers, her sister, his mother, that was SP's mother's first cousin. That was her boyfriend. SP's mother's boyfriend was her first cousin. So when Tomorri got into a relationship with him, that was Tomorri's second cousin. So then Tomorri began having children with him, which made the children not only the man's children, but also the man's cousin. The children are siblings and cousins. The uncles are fathers and uncles and cousins. It's just like the family tree doesn't fork. It's crazy. Like, it took me a while to try and figure this out just in my own mind. So let's see. SP's husband was her husband, but it was also her children's cousin, but her children's father. The brothers to her husband were her children's uncle, but also the father and the cousin to some of the other children. It's very, very confusing, and it's confusing because this isn't normal. He passed away, Daphne. But she has a history of accusing people of being pedos. One of the children told me that from a very early age, she had to go to the courts and speak with a judge multiple times and explain to a judge that her daddy did not do to her the things that SP said that he did. She said he was a good man to her. He never touched her. He raised her, took care of her, and he was a good man and he was lied on. Like a wicker weave basket, yeah. But she wanted everyone to believe that she was a victim. One of her daughters did come to live with her, and this was the daughter that she gave away at 6 days old. At 6 days old, she gave her daughter away. She just left them. She didn't want the kid. And when the kid got older, she came to live with Tomorri for approximately 1 year. Now, during that time, hi Gulf Coast, thanks for coming in. When hold on, I lost my train of thought. Okay, so that one daughter came to live with Tomorri and her boyfriend. Tomorri had a boyfriend at that time for approximately 1 year. Well, that man, she said that Tomorri did not protect her. Tomorri beat her. They were in the kitchen one day, and she kicked her up against the stove and kept kicking her over and over and over again. She was abused. She was neglected. She did not protect her, which made her easy prey to Tomorri's boyfriend. Tomorri's boyfriend saw Tomorri was not protecting her daughter, so that gave him opportunity to help himself to her daughter. And when that happened, Tomorri's daughter went to the authorities to tell them what happened, and SP said no, it did not happen. He never touched her. And Tomorri's ex came and got her daughter and took her back home. But it is hard. It is hard, yeah, to listen, and it is sad. But it is also the reality of who SP is. She's not who she's been telling everyone that she is. Yeah. So she's on here making everyone believe that she protects DV survivors. I call them DVs, domestic violence survivors. But in actuality, she didn't protect her own flesh and blood. And she lied for the abuser to protect the abuser of her own kid. Her daughter was 14, 15 years old, between 14 and 15. Tomorri also sent her oldest son to her brother's house. She knew where her brother kept his money, and she sent him there to take the money. And when he went there to take the money, a pew-pew was pulled out on him. She put him at risk. There's so many stories I could share with y'all that have been shared with me, and her adult children who have shared these stories have told me that I can share them with everyone because they also want people to know, who she really is. Her two of her girls came to social media to warn everyone a couple of years ago, and that's when she denied that they were even her children. She was married, yeah, at one point. Now, one of her boys she gave to her sister, very young, very, very young, and left him behind a dumpster when he was very, very young. Very young, very child, and left. The authorities, law enforcement, found him. They knew to call Sandy's father, and Sandy's father went and got them. There's the name of Sandy gave me the name of the town. I'll have to look it up. But she said you could probably do a search. I doubt it would be on the internet. It'd probably be something that was in a local newspaper from back then that you could find the information. She didn't protect any of her children. That's why when she started, when she was going to save all children. Yeah, her kids have been through a lot. Yeah, Pew Pew, the man that she was with in the camper, is now an ex-boyfriend. When she got out of jail, she was told that she's no longer welcome at the property. Yeah, most people would, Peyton. It's very unusual for a mother to reject their children. It's unusual for a mother to reject one child, much less all of them, and there are 9 in the situation. Now, one of her children told me that there's a possibility that there was one other child, but they don't know anything about it. But there's a possibility that there is one more sibling. Now, Tomorri tells everyone that she got pregnant at 13 and had her first child at 14. But when one of her daughters and I did the math, her oldest child is a boy. So her oldest child actually makes Tomorri around 15 or 16, closer to 16 when she gave birth. So she wouldn't have been pregnant for, 3 years. But it goes back to, you can't believe a word that these people say. She has 9 children altogether, Gigi. Possibly one more. Possibly. Yeah. Was any of her DV stuff true? Like she always said her face was stomped on. Tiger Lily, from what the children told me, no. She was the victimizer. She was the one who would assault the boyfriends. The one that she accuses of stomping her face in, what I was told by one of the kids is that he was a good man. And Tomorri actually would leave her children with him while she was out doing what she did. She was very much an addict, but he took care of the children. And he never hurt her, never laid a hand on her. They said that he was actually a good man. Does she have a heart problem? That's what she says. I've never seen any medical documentation that proves that she does. She claimed that she had stage 4 congestive heart failure, and the doctor had given her 4 to 6 months, and that was about 6 months ago. So, based on her calculations, she should no longer be here. But again, that by saying things like that makes people feel sorry for her. And again, that's also a calculating tactic to mention in one live that I have congestive heart failure. The doctor gave me 4 to 6 months to live. Then a couple of months down the road, ask everyone for money for a doctor's appointment to see your cardiologist. Because the followers will remember, oh, I remember when she shared with all of us that she has congestive heart failure. Chris does it all the time. It's a very common tactic that beggars use. No, she did not, Red. She did not. I shared with everyone in here that 2 of her children want nothing more than to have a relationship with her, and she just does not. It is not reciprocated, and they don't understand why. And it's hurt them. And she did not protect her daughter. Yep, Gigi. Very likely so, Mandy. Yes, this is Southern Pride. And COPD, she said that she has that, which, I mean, it's obvious she gets short of breath. She doesn't have to take very many steps. To apologize to you, she said that you was real bad and you are not, what does it say? You're not, I'm sorry. Thank you, Jean. I apologize that. I thank you for your apology. I know and I understand why a lot of people who followed SP feel that way or felt that way about me, because that's what they were led to believe. That's what they were led to believe by her. She didn't want any of y'all listening to my lives. She did not want you all to know any of this information, because if so, then you all would have felt differently about her. And she knew that. And, that was her source of income. You all were her source of income. She knew that she relied on the gifts, she relied on donations, that she claimed were for another cause. So I understand, and I certainly have no hard feelings whatsoever. I get it. I understand. Thank you, Dawn. I appreciate that. She does love bomb, absolutely. And that's how she would also grow her following. So when a creator goes into someone's live and they're love bombing her, it's her followers who are doing the love bombing for her. They're doing the gifting, but she's the one, SP is the one who was reaping the reward of that, because then more people begin following her, and then she gains more gifters and so on and so on. She does need to be completely off of social media. Absolutely. They were. Absolutely. The victim stories were her source. You sure can, Otto.
Sorry, I just wanted to mention, because some people don't know, um, but if there's anybody in here that is subscribed to her and they have it on reoccurring, where they keep, you might not realize it. I just want to give people. I'm not in here trying to tell people what to do. I'm just giving you a heads up, because a lot of people don't realize that you're subscribed to somebody, and you're set up where it automatically keeps renewing it. So I just wanted to give people a heads up. Um, if you don't, if you know what I mean. I'm sorry. I'm trying to explain it, but you know what I'm saying? Sometimes, like, if you could subscribe to somebody, sometimes you set it up where it just automatically renews every month.
Yeah, you have to go into your settings and change that, because otherwise, if you have subscribed to her on a what is it called? Um,
Renewing, auto
Yeah,
renew. Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
I'm just
Okay.
going to see if I can find my notes from some of my chats with her kids.
And also, when, if people remember right, when you were teamed up, when you were when working with her over Chris, you were the best person in the world. But then soon you started finding out some things about her and started bringing awareness to her. Then you were the worst person in the world. People remember that.
Oh yeah. Well, see, that's what she did was, when I would go live, like I didn't want to collaborate with her at all. And I guess that's what I was getting to earlier when I mentioned I knew her history, with social media. I didn't want to collaborate with her. I didn't want any problems. I just wanted to come on here and expose the money stealer. I wanted to bring awareness to her. I didn't want to fight with anybody. Awareness can be controversial enough without adding arguing into the mix with different creators. So I remain cordial. My very first live, she came in. Um, she was she was asking, or moderators were asking for a box multiple times. They were muted. I don't know if they were blocked or not. I know that they were muted because my moderators muted some of them, and SP contacted me within a day or so later and explained to me that that had happened. Actually have my message on your page that Tomorri had sent me. If anybody wants to read it, Otto has it posted on the air. It's a message that SP had sent me. She wasn't sure why they were muted, and basically why she didn't get a box. But it was because I didn't want her. I didn't want to begin associating with her. I didn't want trouble. I did not want it. So that's why. And she would use my videos from my page, and I didn't have a problem with that. Like one day I just came across her live, and she was holding one of my videos up, and I'm like, oh, okay. That's what the videos are there for, to bring awareness. I don't care if anyone, uses them. But then when Mackenzie and I started going live together, we were hearing, seeing in the chats, ISYBW. Nobody knew what that was. ISYBW. And we're like, what is that? People were asking, what is that? And like, I don't know. We'll kind of find out that was Tomorri's YouTube. So she began marketing herself with me and Mackenzie during our lives to build her following with Chris. So she knew that at that time, like, Chris was the big talk of TikTok, And if she could get her hands on that, then she could potentially do what she does, which is work her way into his life, earn his gifters' trust, bring them to her page. They become her gifters, and then subscribers. When she started getting subscribers was around the time that her daughter had the accident. SP told everyone that she was going to open up subscriptions because her daughter was in a rehab from a bad accident. SP said that she was financially helping her daughter so that her daughter didn't lose everything that she has while she was rehabilitating from the auto accident. Well, she wasn't helping her daughter at all. That was just her reason to make everyone believe that she was using that money to help someone else. She did that for herself, which is fine. I mean, if you want to have subscribers, you have subscribers. That's an option that TikTok allows. My problem is she wasn't truthful to everyone about why she opened up subscriptions. So, and then her subscriptions began to grow. And I don't know, I think she became overconfident in a way.
Oh yeah, she was getting nice, nice chunk of change there for a while.
Yeah.
With those subs. And then I'm sorry, I wanted to say something earlier, and I just totally got sidetracked because someone was asking about it in the chat. I do know that I've heard Scammy Claus say that she don't this, and this was like a couple weeks ago, that she does not support SP. She actually did her own research or something like that, or caught her begging on, or something. But I have heard Scammy Claus say that she don't support SP no more. And this was before all this new stuff just recently came out.
Very good. I'm glad that, Santa Claus was able to see, what was truly going on
Yeah.
with her.
I'm not speaking for her. I'm just saying I heard her say that though, that she's not supporting her no more. So, yeah, she did defend her for a while, but like I said, SP was very, very, very good at manipulating people. She's professional.
She is. Yep. Someone just asked a question. This is a very important question also. Jill asked, do you think that she wrote the letters to Chris? In my opinion, is yes. I believe that she wrote the letters to Chris. And if she didn't write them, I believe she had someone else write them for her, but I believe that she was the mastermind behind the letters.
Yeah, because she had a copy of them.
Yes. So one day during live, she held up, this was around, I think it was around Easter time. It was earlier last year, early 2024. She came across my FYP. She was up. Her first thought was, how in the hell did she get her hands on these letters? Because the only ones that have copies of them would be Mr. Money Stealer and law enforcement, because Mr. Money Stealer gave copies to law enforcement. Law enforcement would never release those letters to anyone. So how did she get the letters? And the only explanation as to how she got her hands on those letters would have been had she written the letters herself, because they would not have been released to her. I do have a photo of her holding up the letter. I was screen recording that live. I blew it up so that I could see the letter, so that I could read the writing. You can see her fingernail, but I don't have like her behind it. I don't know. I mean, I could check in my phone to see if one of my apps saved that video. If so, I can show the video, but if not, I at least do have some screenshots, and it just shows her hand, a part of her hand. Oh, the letters were just horrible, Sharon. It was talking about him doing awful things to his young child, who was only 6 or 7 at the time. I'll use her word that she uses often. nefarious. It was just nasty, really, really bad.
For me, there's just too many coincidences, for it not to be her. There's way too many coincidences.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
but
right.
I'm gonna
Element.
jump down back in the chat.
Okay. Yep. Element said she wondered if SP was actually Tammy because the letters were signed Tammy. Yeah, and even with the Discord thing, y'all, she had told her followers that we had profile pictures had been changed to young girls, like under the age of 12, and she was alluding to, insinuating that we were using the Discord for trafficking because that's what she was accusing us of. She had to make us appear to be the worst of the worst and everything that everyone would hate. That's what she had to do because she knew that if she did that, then people wouldn't come to my page and they wouldn't listen to our lives. And if they didn't listen to our lives, they wouldn't hear about her, the truth. And even if they did come to my lives, they wouldn't believe it. Yeah, Nikki, she still has copies of the letter. It was bad. Oh, hi, Nash. Nash, do you know that you're in the box? I don't think Nash knows that she's in here. It's not letting me remove Nash there. Thank you. Appreciate that. Mercy May said that she used theories brought up during another case to apply about Chris and Nikki. Yeah. All to give her something to talk about and get more money. Yeah. I mean, she put on a show for everybody. She put on a show. Yes, and there was a letter that she was saying that she had received. I need to go back through my videos, but she was claiming that she didn't keep the envelope. She threw the envelope in the garbage, so she didn't know where it actually came from. And that made no sense to me at all, because if you received some type of derogatory type of letter in the mail, you certainly would keep the envelope. You would have looked at the envelope to see where it was from. So that just all seemed like a whole lie. Okay, I will, Karma. Mackenzie never did anything to anyone. She absolutely did not. Um, she was has been very innocent in all of this. All Mackenzie wanted to do, y'all, was to warn people about her dad. Just like when SP's children came to social media to warn everyone about SP. They wanted to warn about their mother. Mackenzie wanted to warn people about her dad. She saw that he was doing bad things on here and just wanted to inform people of what he was actually doing. And it wasn't, what he was telling everyone wasn't true. And, she's already been, she has experience with her father, and she's a victim of his. And then to be victimized all over again just for trying to do good. She just didn't do, she just absolutely. The texts on her phone were from herself as well. I absolutely believe that. I do. And I do believe that. Yeah, Kenzie is a good person, a very good person. Imagine, like, she accused us of the trafficking and funneling money to Discord and all of that. Mackenzie is the big sister to the child. Mackenzie would never, she loves her sisters. Like none of us would have ever allowed anything like that to happen. But when somebody says things like that and they make accusations towards you, you know that you're innocent, but you feel like you have to prove your innocence as a victim. As a victim, you feel like you have to prove your innocence so that people believe that you didn't do all these horrible things that someone's accusing you of. Does that make sense to y'all? And I think a lot of us felt that we needed to prove that we were not these horrible people doing these horrific things that she was accusing us of. It was horrible. Horrible. One of my friends' lives actually, and he's a bigger creator on here, and that was a love bomb night for him. He had no idea who she was, and everyone was gifting him, and it looked like just a beautiful moment. And I saw SP in there, and I went in there and I asked her, well, SP, how many gifts did you give? Because I didn't see her give anything. But she was certainly reaping the rewards of all of her followers gifting him. You've seen her throw one rose. I can imagine how you feel. I can only imagine how you feel, the voice of reason. A lot of you all were on the sidelines with her, and, y'all defended her, y'all supported her. You didn't know. You didn't know all of this then that you know now. And I'm sure that if you knew then what you knew now, you wouldn't have. But at that time, y'all did not know. I mean, y'all are also victims. There are many victims of SPs in many different forms. Yeah, a lot of trust and hearts were broken. She had people that loved her unconditionally when she has never loved anyone. She did, Green Eyes, yeah. And she always would give herself credit for building all of these creators. They were the reasons why the other creators, um, you know, had a following. It's because she built them up. She did, Lou. And I know you, Sarah Jones, also, you were her friend. You were her friend. She had a lot of good people who were genuine friends to her. The problem is she never was a friend back. Did SP ever defend anyone? Did she ever defend any of y'all? I don't know. I've never seen it, but I've seen people defend her, you know. Thank you, Sherry. I do appreciate that. Yeah, I've never seen her defend. It's always been about her. I've never seen her defend anyone. Yeah, she used a lot of people, and she's good at it. But now her secret is out. If you look on my page, I believe I may have pinned the video, and it's captioned Secrets. If you look at that video, some of the screenshots that Nancy sent me are in there, and one of those screenshots is SP sending one to Nancy. And in the message, she's talking, she's pretending as though she's talking to someone else, as though what she told Nancy was she accidentally sent her that text that was meant for someone else. But really what she was doing was baiting Nancy, because y'all remember she referred to Nancy as her number one prayer warrior. Well, what that meant for SP was that Nancy would always come through with the money. So, and Nikki, this is what SP did for Nikki. So shortly after Nikki left Chris, SP was live, and they were talking live about Nikki. Well, when she came in, Nikki stated in the comments, she said, "I am Nikki." Well, then that's when SP's lit up, and she knew at that moment Nikki was going to be her next money grab. She wanted to use Nikki to raise a lot of money on behalf of Nikki's TV situation. But we know who would have really pocketed, who would have benefited from the money. That would have been SP. But what she did was she made Nancy believe that she was going to provide a phone for Nikki and 1 year's worth of service, and even conversed with Nikki even conversed with Nancy by text message and told her that Chris has already shut the phone off. She created a sense of urgency. We need to get this phone for her soon. Chris has already shut it off. And she knew that Nancy did not want to be without a phone because Nikki had the children. In all actuality, Nikki has never spoken with SP. And during that live, when Nikki came in and said, "I am Nikki," and SP said, "We'll get you a phone. Let us help you. Our community will help you, Nikki." Nikki said she doesn't want anything. Nikki's never wanted anything from anyone. But she led Nancy to believe that she was working with Nikki to provide her a phone. There are screenshots of the cash apps that Nancy sent her. Now, whether or not SP actually bought a phone with the money that Nancy sent her, which was 2 different transactions through Cash App for $400 each, back to back. One day $400, the following day another $400. SP sent Nancy a screenshot of some phones on Amazon, telling Nancy that these are the phones that I've looked at. Whether or not she actually used that $800 towards a phone, I highly doubt it. I doubt it. I'm sure there are other things that were more important to SP to use that money on than a phone. Didn't she raise money for a plane ticket for Nikki? No, not to my knowledge. If she did, I'd like to know about that. Now, she was telling Nancy that she had a domestic violence mother, a mother who had been through domestic violence, that she was collecting money and raising money for a plane ticket for a mother and her children. I don't know if she was insinuating that was Nikki or not. No, it must not have been, because SP's story was that this guy was incarcerated and he was getting out of jail the very next day, and she needed to get the mother out of state before he got out of jail. So this must have been a different person. Oh yeah, she had so many stories about that. Someone said, let's see, where's it at?
Hey,
Hey, Elijah Tomorri.
in KK's live the other night, I heard her saying something about a plane ticket that she was taking up money for, and I thought she had said she was doing it for Nikki, but
I don't know anything about that one.
KK said there was never a plane ticket.
Yeah, I can't speak on that one because I don't know. I just know the plane ticket that SP was, telling Nancy that she was getting for a domestic violence victim and her children. But, I mean, there's no telling how many different plane tickets she's claimed that she needed to buy.
Right. I'll go back. KK's live is on her YouTube. I'm going to go back and listen to it
Okay.
and see. It might have been to go see her daughter when she had that wreck.
Okay. Yeah, it'd be good to know.
It was for Tomorri.
Jill said, and then her saying that Nikki and Chris were working with each other to get more money. Yeah, she had so many different stories. First she told everyone that Nikki and Chris had planned all of this, that they were collecting tons of money through Discord. They were going to end up moving away from that campground, I guess live happily ever after with thousands of dollars they collected through Discord. First of all, these communities, TikTok and all of that, people talk, and just common sense would say that if any money were being shuffled around like that, somebody's going to spill the beans. But it just wasn't happening. It just wasn't. The only transaction was for a tab. It was actually Dawn who suggested that in the Discord because Chris had access to change the password on Layla's tablet remotely. He kept changing the password, and Layla would have to contact her father to get the new password. So basically, Chris was using it to control. And Dawn is the one who suggested, why don't we go together and get Layla a new tablet? So that was what that donation was for, and that was it. That was it. And Nikki did not even want that. I mean, they literally pretty much had to tie her hands together and say, we're doing this. Hi,
Lies.
Marty. Welcome
Hi.
up.
I think that plane ticket was when she was leaving Colorado to go back home, that she was never at Colorado.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Oh, gotcha.
Which
Yeah.
brings up a whole different, I mean, what's she going to do with Lulu? So that was all a money grab when she said she was at Colorado, she was going to go back home. I think that was the plane ticket, Lies, is what I think.
Mercy May just said she doesn't fly. So
Wow.
I disagree. She flies high every day.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Dell asked, was her daughter ever actually in a bad accident? She was in an accident, and we do have those reports. So she was in an accident. Whether or not she actually did attend or visit her daughter in the hospital, who knows? I would say no. I mean, and why would she need the money? Her daughter lived in North Carolina. That's where her daughter lived. So, wouldn't her boyfriend just be able to drive her there? And you see, when she and her boyfriend got together, the agreement was, and this was shared with me by Robert's son-in-law, when SP and her boyfriend got together, the agreement was that he would not share his money with her. Her money was hers, his money was his. And, there's a reason typically for that. I'm sure that he knew of her history with addiction. Who knows what he's dealt with her during the time that they've been together in a relationship. And he just didn't, the last thing you do, you give someone who is an active addict is money, because that's what they're going to spend that money on. So maybe that was his way of trying to protect her from using. I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, I do not believe she was in Colorado. No way. I just do not believe it. Now, initially we thought that she was at her mother's, but one of the kids was able to confirm that she hadn't been there. Yeah, the travel videos. I'm just reading through the messages, y'all. Exactly, Mercy May. Yep. Yeah, she was traveling from the west. Well, yeah, she was traveling. She was traveling west.
I think everybody just needs to be careful with that, though, Truth, because she could have used other videos to make it look like she was traveling one way when she really wasn't. I mean, she's crafty.
That's exactly right. Yep. Nunya beeswax, that actually worked to your advantage to not get to know her very well. So I'm glad that you didn't have the opportunity because you could also have been a victim of hers. You're right, Jairus. That's exactly what she did. Yeah, and including yourself. It's very sad and unfortunate for those of us who genuinely do. You know, we when we develop meaningful relationships, those relationships actually mean something to us. You know, obviously to Tomorri they don't. Yeah. Whew, a recap. Um, so a recap. Well, the primary purpose of today's live was to encourage anyone who has given um, money to SP as a donation to please come forward because we need their victims of hers and we need all of the victims to come forward in order to gather a tally. We need a total. And once we receive a total, then that's going to determine the next step in this process because ultimately what needs to happen is that she's held accountable so that this stops. We don't want anyone else to have to go through what our community has gone through. And it's been a lot. And we have the means and we have the ability. And I think as a community, we can all come together to make sure that, to do our best to make sure that this does not happen to anyone else or any other community. I think I think that we have a community of people who care and look out for one another. And I think that's exactly what we can do in this situation is care enough to prevent this from happening again to the best of our ability. I don't know if 954 is still with her or not. Kindness is free said, why would she care about anyone else when she doesn't even care about her own kids? See, many people have said, well, SP was honest about, her relationship with her kids and the things that she did when she was in addiction. But what SP failed to share was that she's never done anything to mend those relationships with her kids. Um, the two kids of hers who do want a relationship with her, if she were hers who do have a relationship with because they actively want one with her. One of them is incarcerated or was as of a few weeks ago. I don't know if she still is, but she has substance abuse problems. She has trauma. She's gone through a lot. She loves her mom. Her mom just doesn't love her, and she doesn't understand.
You know, truth,
Hmm.
if you're ever wondering about somebody, all these scammers, beggars give up their kids. That's a true tell for me. I don't know about for anybody else because there isn't nothing I wouldn't do for my kids. I would walk barefoot to make sure my kids had shoes, guaranteed.
Yeah, yeah, and most would. Yeah, it's very unusual um, that she's rejected all of her kids.
Somebody just said she was 8 years clean. That sounds odd to me. She's been 8 years clean for the last 3 years, I think. 2, 3 years.
I'm not sure about Miss Amy. Yeah, she's claimed that she's been clean for a very long time. I think it, in my opinion, and all of the observations, and we have 250 people in here that have observed this woman during many live streams and seen the highs and the lows, and the times where it almost appeared as though she was in psychosis. Um, I don't think that she is clean. I don't think that she was clean. The money's going somewhere.
That's a lot of money to go somewhere. Truth, and you talked to her daughter about her niece a while back?
I have to look through my notes because I don't want to give out any information that isn't 100% accurate. But I'll go through my notes about that, and during another live, please ask me again, and I'll make sure that
Yes.
I write in my notes.
That's what somebody was saying. Her niece was actually her daughter that passed away.
Yes, that she had claimed. Oh, yes. Okay, so she had claimed that she was going to her niece's funeral, but it was actually her daughter's, and then she actually never attended it. She wasn't welcome.
So we didn't find out which daughter it supposedly was.
I have to look through my notes to find out, to remember the name. I have multiple notebooks of notes on her, but I'll go through. So I have so many names, y'all, that are written down with different family members, different people she was associated with. The kids have shared with me when we've gone through the stories.
No, Del Homie's done. And Miss Homie, they're done with her.
The Toadie, Todie, is her nickname that was given to her by her family. Why? I don't know, but that was just the nickname. That's what they call her. They call her Toadie. Now, one of her daughters, who was recently incarcerated for substances, was actually turned onto these substances by Tomorri. So remember when Tomorri was talking about Chris offering Mackenzie a substance when she was around 15 years old? Well, Tomorri actually is the one who turned her daughter onto it. Her daughter's had a problem with it ever since.
Wow. That's sad.
Yeah. And for Tomorri to claim to help DV victims when her daughter Samantha was in a domestic violence situation and actually reached out to her mother for help, she absolutely did nothing to help her.
Charlotte, I seen you were asking if we thought she was panicking right now. I personally don't think so. That's just my personal opinion. I'm not speaking for Truth or Lies, but she definitely was panicking when Mackenzie came into her live and asked her to stop talking about Chris in the way she was talking. And then she was also panicking when Truth read Nikki's letter. That's when she started panicking, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think she knew at that point the cat was going to be out of the bag for sure. Now, going back to that incident where Tomorri was watching her oldest child, her oldest son. She left him with Donna Molinax, that's her sister. And Donna left him behind a garbage dumpster in Gastonia. That was between 1989 and 1990. I haven't done a lot of research to see if I could find an article, but that was quite some time ago. I don't know if there would be anything on the internet. We could look. I tried to look up some news feeds, but there was like 500 that I need to go through to find an article, and I just haven't had time to do that. But he was left behind a dumpster. Ernest went and got him after Sheriff's Department called there. So Um, that was what happened during that incident. Her own sister left the kid behind a dumpster. I mean, this was just a family of people who have, you know, neglected children over and over and over again. I mean, you know, Katie, which is SP's mother, neglected SP, you know, by allowing this relationship with Ernest, you know, which was Katie's first cousin. It was Katie's boyfriend. It was her first cousin, SP's second cousin. But, you know, they just grew up very differently than most of us did. You know, the story that SP shared about, you know, Ernest's brothers having his way with her. Yeah, pretty much. By family that did not happen. It was actually the opposite. It was SP that he couldn't control from that. But I'm looking through notes to see if there's anything else I can bring up. One thing that the kids told me, and I put this in quotations, that SP would sacrifice her children for her own needs. Yes, and the voice of reason, her daughter, who is in that DD situation, who reached out to SP for help, SP did absolutely nothing to help her. Right, Mercy May. Yep, and one of the daughters actually had to speak to a judge 15 different times to let them know that Ernest was a good man and he did nothing to hurt her. He did not do any of the things that not only SP but also SP's mother accused him of doing. And when she explained this to me, it was so sad because she was so young. And what she told me was that, you know, at that young age, she just did not understand why she had to keep going back to talk to a strange man, someone who was a stranger to her, to tell him that her daddy did not do these things to her. You know, that's traumatizing for a child to have to talk to a strange person about something like that at such a young age. She didn't even know what any of that was, but yet she was being asked about it. Yes, I absolutely believe that she did, Mercy May. Yep. Now, what Ernest said when he walked up the court steps to marry her, to marry SP, he told the kids that he regretted it at that very moment. He regretted what he was doing. But he supposedly loved SP and never had another girlfriend after her. Supposedly he loved her very much. But, you know, there's so much dysfunction in that family unit that I just can't wrap my head around it. Yeah. Yep. Diamond, this is Southern Pride. No, Sarah Jones, no. Ernest loved her. He loved Tomorri. There was no abuse, Sarah. And as a matter of fact, the brothers that he had, it was Tomorri who was going after the brothers. It was Ernest who would come home to find Tomorri hiding in the closet, you know, hitting her crack-a-doodle pipe. It was Ernest who would sprinkle flour on the front porch so that when he came home after a hard day of work to support her, he used the flour to see if there were footprints from his brothers coming to visit Tomorri while he was at work. It was all Tomorri. Yeah, y'all heard a complete opposite story, and I wasn't able to get the truth to you guys because of Tomorri. It was Kenny, a boyfriend named Kenny, who violated Tomorri's daughter. When she went to the police to tell them what he did, Tomorri went to the police and said that Kenny did not do it. And she sent her away to go back to live with her father. But Ernest, even though he knew, so much about Tomorri and that maybe her daughter wasn't in the best hands being with Tomorri during that year that he wanted her to go live with Tomorri, he just wanted her to have the opportunity to get to know her mother. But unfortunately, while she was there, she was violated in a horrible way. She was physically assaulted by Tomorri on multiple occasions. And, by her not protecting her daughter, that made her an easy victim to Kenny. Because he knew that SP wasn't going to protect her. And he could do what he wanted with her. Now, there was a guy that she was with during the time that she got picked up on that 8-ball. There was also, when she got picked up on that warrant was for, like, when you go shoot pool, we have 8 balls, I have to say it like that. And then also, the other substance started with an L. The other initial was a S, and there's another initial of a D. So that's what she had. Now, she claims that she was fleeing a domestic violence situation when she got pulled over, but the man that she was with during that time never abused her. As a matter of fact, what I was told by the family is that it was actually the opposite. It was this P who was the abuser, not him. So pretty much anything that Tomorri said, a lot of people who are very manipulative and who are beggars and scammers, they take a situation that truly happened, but they twist it and they make the water so muddy, but they use that information to twist it to fit the narrative that they want everyone to believe, and that's what she's done time and time again in so many different situations. And actually, you guys, this is going to blow your mind. The other thing that Tomorri did was she taught one of her daughters how can I say this word on here? It starts with a PROST. Fill in the blanks. And she also exposed her to rugs. And the exact words that the sister told me is that kid is messed up real bad by Tomorri. Yeah, that's it. Oil trash. That's what Tomorri taught. See, there are 2 of the kids that Tomorri had, I wouldn't say a relationship, but she saw them more than she saw any of the other kids. And one of those daughters that she saw more often is the one that she taught had a hook. Yeah. That story, Rocky, I asked one of the kids about it, and they said that didn't happen. They said that's a lie. She's made WW there with time each exposed. Yeah, she's never been exposed to this level. Like, people know all of her secrets now. I mean, there's more to tell. This isn't all of them. whether or not her daughter told me, a couple of them, that they did want to come on and make sure that, because they knew that it was getting close to the end of exposing her, and they said that they would be willing to come on live and share more information so that everyone could hear it from them, because they want their mother to be held accountable for all the things that she's done. They want to see that. I've had their full support through all of this. I'd be willing to come on live and share more information so that everyone could hear it from them, because they want their mother to be held accountable for all the things that she's done. They want to see that. I've had their full support through all of this. Am I lagging? Yeah, she thrives on it. Yes, SP's road to the house. You know me. No life is ever short. I always tell myself I'm gonna go on for like 30 minutes. Um, and oftentimes I'll end up staying on here for hours. But I don't go live that often, so I make up for lost time. Yeah, like her normal. Yes, you guys, I love TikTok shop too. Did SP get off of TikTok because I've not seen her in a long time? One hot mess. She has been on YouTube trying to reinvent herself because she has been fully exposed on TikTok. Recently, she posted a message on her TikTok page, asking, just a reminder that she has a birthday coming up. And basically, what that really means is, hey, my birthday's coming up if anyone would like to send me money. Is it better for you now, Alicia? Is it Alicia or Alicia? On YouTube, is just the initials, ISYBW. It stands for I See You, Beautiful Warrior. Hi, Kenzie. That's okay. Yeah, I think she knew at some point she would have to leave TikTok. Okay, very good, Alicia. Thank you.
Hey, Truth, I'm going to drop down. I have to go get the horses ready to come in and feed. So, but I will holler at you later.
Okay. All right.
All right. You guys have a good night.
Bye-bye. So if others decide to come on, I'll definitely let you guys know. I've never wanted to pressure them at all because it's their story and I want them to feel comfortable. You know, 'cause there's a lot of trauma that they've experienced in their lifetime with her because of their time with her because of their mother. And, you know, I don't want them to have to relive their traumas all over again. But I know that to them, it's very important to them that she not hurt anyone else. Griffin, that is so right. Griffin said she doesn't hold any of her kids' birthday special, so why should hers be? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Dale, who actually was never her husband. He was her boyfriend. She referred to him as her husband. But the property that they were living on belongs to his daughter and his daughter's husband. So there's a house on the property, and then there's a little camper on the property. SP and her boyfriend lived in the camper, and the boyfriend's daughter owns the house on the property, and she and her husband live there full time. Thank you, Carla. I appreciate that. Thank you, Oni. She was, Sissy. I think it was around 13 years. It was a long time. Yes, Tigerfly. Yeah, she used to tell everyone that that was her and her husband's house and their property. It was not true. Yeah, she acted like he lived in the house mainly, primarily lived in the house, but would sleep in the camper on occasions with her. But the truth was, he lived in the camper with her 100% of the time, and his daughter lived in the house 100% of the time with her husband. Yeah, Alicia, a lot of people, if anything good has come out of this, a lot of good people have found good friends through all of this. Crystal, I believe so. That's my opinion. I think all the signs point to that. I think he was probably very done with her a long time ago, Dale. That's what I think. Yeah, he did buy that trailer, Jody. His son-in-law told me that he had bought the trailer and was there when he moved it to the property. He had actually helped. You know, and she made everyone feel that I had called the family multiple times, had the daughter-in-law terrified to live in her house, and that absolutely 100% is not true. They wanted to know what was going on. They had no idea, just like so many other people. She fooled them. She even fooled them, and she lived on their property. But, you know, I provided TikTok pages and YouTube pages for them. They wanted to do their own research, and I encouraged them to do their own research, and that's exactly what they did. And they have been watching TikTok pages. They've seen things with their own eyes. I think they're very comfortable with the decision that they made for her to no longer be there. Yeah, am I pronouncing that right? Kimone? Yes, that was a double wide that was purchased by Robert. And, yeah, so, but whether or not it was purchased for them to live in, that was never clarified. So I don't know if he purchased it to fix it up for someone to sell it, to flip it for profit. I don't know, or for them to live in. I would hope that he purchased it for them to live in so they could get out of that little camper. No, she's no longer with Lovey. Lovey sent her packing when she got out of jail. Yep. Well, she was told to get off of the internet, and that was her ultimatum, to get off of the internet or get off of the property, and that her choice was to stay on the internet. Yep. There's another video on my page, and I think it's captioned "Whose house?" Tomorri went into the house of her boyfriend's daughter. This was during the Trey and Jess era, when SP was fighting back and forth with Jess and Trey, and she pretended like that was her house. The daughter-in-law had no idea that Tomorri was in her house making videos and posting it on social media. Can you imagine that if you found out that someone had came in your house while you weren't home, made videos of them in your home, and then led people to believe on social media that that was your home or their home? That's so violating. Your home is your safe place. They absolutely do have a whole lot more similarities than not. Yeah, I would have too. I would have pressed charges. Because what it was is Trey, who was a scammer on here, he was accusing her of living in a trailer park. And there's nothing wrong with living in a trailer park. But SP wanted to give this impression that she lived very differently than how she actually did live. So that's why she went into her daughter's house, made a video of herself in there, and then posted it to make Trey believe that she didn't live in a little trailer, she lived in a big old house. I am sure that her boyfriend's daughter felt very, very violated. That was her home. And not only that, but SP made videos of the entire property and showed the property as though it was her property. The daughter-in-law didn't like that either. Property posted all over social media. SP did that to them. She violated them. All of those acres that she claimed that she owned. No, well, they didn't live in the house that she showed, that she gave everyone a walkthrough. She did a walkthrough of a home that was under construction. They were doing repairs to it. No, they did not live in that one. That was a double wide that had been moved to the property. She and her boyfriend lived in a camper on the property. And social media was so important to her, I think, because, that was her means for, that's just what I think. And I think it made her feel powerful. A lot of people were afraid of her. at one point. You know, no one is afraid of her anymore. Exactly, Dawn. Exactly. Yep. She knew that her boyfriend wasn't going to supply her with money for her habit. That was the agreement when they got together. So, no, JG 430, she absolutely was not. She was quite the opposite. Did she take any of her things when she got out? Well, what she showed us shortly after getting out, um, it was just some bags, like, you know, some personal items that she may have thrown in the back of a truck. Yes, Crafting Through the Lies on YouTube. And also, there's a lot of them on there. Sizzle's Lair. Can someone pin Sizzle's Lair YouTube for me, please? It's just Sizzle's Lair. No, Wendy, I absolutely do not think so. I think that she wanted people to feel as though she was like a chameleon. Um, she could be whatever you needed her to be in order for you to relate to her. A lot of people did, Tammy. I feel bad for Lulu, you guys. We have no idea um, how Lulu is. You know, does she truly take care of Lulu? Does Lulu get veterinarian care? I'm sure people probably donated for Lulu to receive veterinarian care, but whether or not Lulu actually saw a vet, who knows? The money could have gone right into SB's pocket. You know, Dell, for some reason, it was confirmed that she did not go to her mother's after she left South Carolina. I don't know if it's that her mother just will not allow her there, or if maybe her mom has her hands full, so she's taking care of all those kids. She's taking care of everybody else's children because, you know, people keep having babies and they don't take care of them, and then SP's mother's taking care of them. She's not been on TikTok, but she's on YouTube. Let me see if I can pin. Is it letting you guys pin anything? But on YouTube, Sizzle's Lair. Let me write it down so I can spell it for y'all. Let's see. Okay, so Sizzle's Lair on YouTube is SIZZLESLAIR, Sizzle's Lair. If you go to her page and then you select playlist, she has an entire playlist of, I don't know, 50, 60 videos of Tomorri. A lot of these videos are from back in the day, a couple of years ago when Tomorri was on YouTube. Thank you, Dawn. There you go. Thank you. Appreciate that. So, and Sizzles has been posting updates also. She's the community that SP took advantage of a couple of years ago. Yeah, so what I'm probably going to do, y'all, is I'm probably going to do short lives throughout the next few days. urging any victims, and you are a victim if you have donated to this woman, to please come forward to whomever you feel comfortable with. If you think you can relate better to KK, go to KK. If you feel that you can relate better with me, come to me. If you feel that Mackenzie is someone who you feel more comfortable with, she's also a victim of SPs, then go to Mackenzie. Because what's important is that you all feel comfortable going to whom you feel that you can trust the most or just feel most comfortable with. We don't need any of your personal information, and none of your personal information will be disclosed. We need a total, and from that total is going to determine. Now already she's at a felony, so anything over $2,500 is considered through the internet is considered a felony. I did speak with the investigator who was handling Slot's case, and he provided some great advice to me, and he is also going to be looking into her to see if her information came up with Slot. So I provided him with Tomorri's name, a brief history, and her usernames, because at some point Slots and SP were connected. Thank you for the follow. Does anyone have any more questions before I get ready to hop off? Thank you for the follow. Thank you guys for liking the live. Thank you guys for sharing it out so that we could push this live out to as many people as possible. You're welcome, Marty. SP was not married, Sugar Bear, to the man that she was living with. They were boyfriend and girlfriend, but they weren't married. I may do a brief live tonight also, because we may have people who weren't able to join today's live who might be on tonight. So I think that, getting this information out there is imperative. It's imperative. You're very welcome, the voice of reason. Very welcome. I'm happy that I've had the opportunity to share this with you guys. I appreciate you guys all coming in here and listening to what I have to share. You can't find Sizzles or you can't find Tomorri. You're welcome, Gloria. Thank you, Marty. I appreciate you coming in also, and thanks for coming in the box. You can't find Sizzles. Did we spell it wrong? Sizzles layer. Raylan, did you type in Sizzle's layer on YouTube or just Sizzle? Very welcome, Jill. And I want to say thank you to all of y'all because, together we can make sure that to the best of our ability that she does not have an opportunity to do this to another community. It's time that it stops. And we can make that happen. We can make it stop. Very welcome, April. Oh. Jill, I would not be surprised if it was a money grab. Absolutely would not be surprised. Yeah, she has a whole new community over there, and people are already asking her how they can support her channel. Possibly pretty old. That's a great idea to look at Sizzle's Lair. You look for Sizzle's Lair and didn't find it? Raylan, if you don't mind, private message me and I'll copy and paste it for you. Thank you. Followers, friends, we can all come together and bring awareness. Absolutely. I don't know who Caveman is. Exactly, the voice of reason. Yep, exactly. You know, I think we all have the same goal in common, and that is to make sure that she is not able to do this to anybody else. And we can do it.
Hey y'all, on Sizzle's Lair, if you just put in Sizzles and then space Lair, Lair, it should pull up. Because I'm sitting here looking at it. It's 2 words. Sizzles. Hold on, let me see if I can do this.
Yeah, the YouTube community has been very, very helpful. And,
Okay, can y'all see that?
Let me see if I can put you in the big box.
Look, I can't see anything in this little box.
Let's see if I can change that.
No, it's on YouTube. Sizzle's Lair. There you go. And that's her. Put the picture on it. But she's got all kinds of videos on here. Some of them for years ago. So she's been doing this for years.
Yeah, she knows a lot about Tomorri. And if you have any questions about, you know, what Tomorri did to their community, Sizzles is great. She's been wonderful to work with.
She is. She's
Nicolina.
Okay, I'm dropping back down.
Okay, thank you for sharing that so everybody could see it. Sizzles and Nicolina 777 were all a part of that community who, you know, worked to expose Tomorri when she did to their community what she's done to us. So I encourage everyone to go and watch her playlist. Just choose a playlist, and she has all of the videos organized with SP. And many of them go way back. And that'll help to give you some insight into kind of how she started with this whole scamming venture. They sure have. They ran her off. Is someone missing? Do you mean, or what do you mean, is someone missing, Karen? You too, the voice of reason. Thank you so much for coming in. So, if at some point you have donated money to SP, if at any time you've a message from her, any of the financial apps, Cash App, any of those from her with a request for money, or a note from her on a Cash App, that's all important information for us to know. It's going to help with an investigation. Oh no. Well, I mean, is she missing? She's hiding somewhat. But no, this person isn't someone who is missing. She's someone who is taking advantage of a lot of people on this app by scamming them, and we are all seeking justice. Yes, from SP. So if SP has messaged anyone requesting money, that's important to know. If SP has, if you have donated money to SP, you have done nothing wrong. You are a victim. You have done nothing, good people, thinking that they're donating to a good cause, when in all actuality, the money was going in her pocket. If she isn't currently doing it triple, she's working her way up to it. People are already asking her how they can support her channel. Like even when she was going into the boxes with Justina, y'all remember her going into Justina's lives? She was in there coming up with excuses for why she needed money, and they were helping to raise money for her. She's a beggar and a scammer, Stacy. She's taking thousands of dollars from people in this app. We've recently been gathering totals, and over the past just 3 days, we've tallied up. We're at around $15,000 plus from people that have donated to her, thinking that they were donating for a cause or for a reason that actually wasn't